If you have a great software idea and you want to use a no-code platform like Bubble, in today's video, I'm going to explain to you why you should not do that. Why using a platform like this could actually be very negative and have very negative impacts on your overall ability to create software in the future. Welcome back, y'all. In today's video, this is probably going to lose me subscribers, sponsorships, and everything above the air, but I got to be really transparent with y'all and truthful. That's the whole point of this channel, is I'm not going to fake anything. I'm going to tell you how it is, and I'm telling you right now, you do not want to use no-code tools to build software. Can you build MVPs, minimal viable products? Yes. So in today's video, I'm going to explain why this is not a good thing to do. And the reason I'm making today's video is I made a short form piece of content about this topic. I also did a tweet on this topic, and I noticed a little bit of pushback. So I'm going to go ahead and explain to you why it's not a good idea to create a no-code software. And if this is the first time you're seeing me, you're like, who is this guy? I'm creating an entire AI software from scratch, 0 lines of code to 25,000 lines of code. I'm pretty well versed in this realm. I'm going to explain to you why taking the route of doing a software like this, but through a no-code solution, is actually pretty detrimental. So before we go through the drawbacks of using a tool like this, let's talk about some of the positives. Yes, I think designing a minimal viable product using Bubble or using something like Zapier is completely fine. I think that is totally within the realm of just understanding intuitively how it all works, what's the value point, the connections that are made, stuff of this nature. Basically just creating an MVP to give you a concept of, okay, this could be done with software. This is a good idea. Let's proceed. But that's the limit. Don't take the extra step of trying to scale on Bubble's platform. This is not good, and for a multitude of reasons. So reason number one, let's just start listing them out. Reason number one, if you design a software like this and it's a great idea and you want to scale using Bubble's platform, here is your first issue. You don't actually know how it works with code. Okay, Corbin, that's not a big deal. That's the whole point. I did know code, so I don't have to know how it works with code. Okay, so now you have to hire a team. So let's say you have a great idea. You built it on Bubble, and your idea has validity and it's growing, and you decided not to basically go from MVP, okay, I'm going to take this concept and translate it to code myself, go through the hard work of learning how to do it, etc., etc. Check out that video up there if you want to see the tools that are required to actually build a software through just code. You can check out that video right there. That being said, if you don't and you actually take the alternative route here where you keep using Bubble and you quote unquote scale with it and hire a dev team, you're going to run into the issue of not knowing how to actually understand it intuitively, way it works with code. So first, you're going to have to hire a dev team because you don't know how it works with code. Dev team, is this going to be one individual, two individual, three individual? Are these individuals in domestically where you are? Are they on different time zones? On top of that, are you willing to expend now because you have full stack engineers on your team? Can you afford $300,000 a year to possibly have a team of 3 different engineers? This would assume that by the time you would entertain getting developers to code it out from scratch, now you have to create legal contracts with these developers, NDAs with these developers, ensure that these developers will actually follow those NDAs and the legal contracts if they're international. So they're not just going to steal your idea and do it themselves because maybe it's not binding because they're in a different country. This is going to be a headache. So on top of hypothetically maybe just hiring a dev team to build it out, you have to worry about the legal implications of that dev team. Maybe you're like, you know what? I don't actually want to hire out a dev team to build out the software. Alternatively, I'm just going to hire them as an employee of the company that I'm currently running. Okay, great. Are you willing to shell out around 100 to 130K a year? That is the starting salary for the type of engineers you're looking for. So the first drawback here is if you create a successful company using a no-code tool like Bubble and you're making money with it, well, congratulations. You just set yourself up to pay engineers that are going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that becomes issue number 2. What's issue number 2? Issue number 2 is because you don't understand how it works in a code-like manner, you can't gauge correctly the pricing and the timelines that your engineers tell you. What do I mean by that? If you've ever built a website and you have competency on how to do website design through Shopify, Webflow, stuff of this nature, you understand intuitively that you could probably build a very effective and really good looking site within 5 days. If you've never built a website, you could be told this is going to take 3 to 4 weeks. This is going to cost around $2,000 to $4,000. But if you have the knowledge of actually understanding how to build a website with your end product, you know that's That's not true. This is going to take me 5 days and I'll pay you around 800. Saying that, when you get into the context of your project and your code, you're going to get overcharged and you're going to get timelines that are way longer than they should be. Therefore, something in your software that could be technically coded out in 3 to 5 days is now being told to you that it can be coded out in a month. What that does is adds an extra layer of delay process in the overall value points of your software. Now we're delaying to market because of the fact that you have an engineer team that is basically working 66% slower than they should be because you don't have the competency to understand that in reality, to code this and the timelines associated with this, you can't gut check them because you have no ethos in this realm. I'm not saying this to sound mean. I'm not saying this to undermine you. I'm saying this because this is a very real thing that happens in the market. If you're familiar with freelance work, you understand, especially, I keep giving website design one because I think that's a great one. A lot of people know how to create websites, or a lot of people can kind of understand once you've created a website, you're like, wow, did I get overcharged in the past? Like, that's a great example, right? Now translate that into coding out a software. There's going to be a lot of stuff that if you don't understand how it works in code, you're going to get overcharged and you're going to be given extended timelines. Corbin, that sounds like a headache. What if I just don't even want to code it and I just, we'll keep it on Bubble's platform, we'll keep it no code. I don't want to even deal with all of this headache. That's fine. If you don't proceed in that manner, guess what? There is a lot of other drawbacks. Okay, you start creating a very successful platform. It's going off. You're making a lot of income. You want to sell that platform. What are you selling? What's proprietary about your platform? When softwares get bought out and purchased by other companies, this is done through a manner of copyright law, e.g., the software that is the code that you've written for is, I believe, if I remember correctly, the jargon is it's trademarked or copyrighted for literary works, just because back in the day they didn't have code, right? So the lines of code count as literary works. Literary works in this context is the piece of legal documentation you provide when you're selling or being bought out by another company, as that's deemed to them that the workflow and the processes of this software is being purchased by this company, which has a copyright on the literary works, the code of this software. So therefore, we can transfer it to your company, give me some money. If you do it through Bubble, you don't have the thing that gets transferred and paid for. You have a platform that's built on top of another platform. You have nothing proprietary. That's huge. If your end game is to never sell the software, is to basically be locked down by the fees associated with the Bubble platform, that's fine. This is why, and this might have come off as a very harsh video, but this is a very real video. I'm probably going to get a lot of negative feedback in the comments. But if you want a real perspective from someone in this industry, someone's building a platform in this industry, you need to hear it here. What does this mean, Corbin? What does this mean? This means this. Like anything, you don't want to waste your time building out a platform and then basically hit every wall I just described there. There is plenty more. I hope that everything I described there was enough for you to realize that, holy smokes, I don't want to go down that route because I could get really, really screwed. So, knowing that, how do we leverage Bubble? How do we leverage Zapier in the context of building software? These are our MVPs. We are going to build out the value point in the concept of passing data and get our endpoint. Okay, great. We know it works. We know it works with software. Then we got to translate this to code. Corbin, I don't know how to code. Okay. I go over this in a ton of different videos. The first video I referenced was basically the tools needed to create a software. This video is giving you a 6-month timeline of how to approach the idea of coding software. But I'm telling you right now, if you don't know how to code, use ChatGPT to be your teacher. I'm not saying go to ChatGPT and say, program me an entire software. No. Step by step. What's the first thing that is typically associated with a software, y'all? It's a homepage. Okay, let's build a homepage with ChatGPT. What are we going to use in our backend code? We're going to use Python. We're going to use Firebase. These are going to be our backend. What's going to be our front end? We're going to use React. We're going to use JavaScript, HTML, CSS. We're going to build a front end. We're going to start with a homepage. It's going to take you 3 to 4 days to build up that homepage to understand everything. Okay, what happens next with a software platform? Okay, so after we build a homepage, we need to have some type of login, right? How do we do logins? Okay, we're going to do authentication with Firebase. Okay, ChatGPT, how does this work? Okay, so do I need to import this? This is how you're going to do it. And yes, you will do this, especially if you've never coded before. you will probably be at this for 6 months. There's no way to work around this, y'all. There is no magic pill. There's nothing you can take. It's going to take you 6 months to build out a borderline MVP. But here's what you gained. You've gained the knowledge of how it works in the back end. You've gained the knowledge of how it works in the front end. You've gained the knowledge of how to even build out a software from complete scratch, which is probably the most valuable thing in this modern day and age, especially with this new market emerging with artificial intelligence that's only been able to do in the last 10 months in the context of GPT-4. Let that sink in. I don't want you to use these no-code platforms and now you're cruxed. Now you're spending money on engineers when you yourself could be that engineer. I didn't go to school with a computer science degree, y'all. I got a political science degree, but I'm coding. Like, you don't need to get a fancy piece of paper to tell you whether you can be a full stack engineer or not. You can do it. You just got to learn one thing. And I would say this is probably the most important thing you need to understand. As everyone learns differently. I like watching videos to learn, which I think a lot of other people doing, a lot of people watching this right now like doing that as well. But I'm telling you right now, you need to reframe your brain, rewire your brain, and start learning with this. You need to start getting the ability to learn through reading text and conversating with ChatGPT. This is your new teacher. Oh, Corbin, I'm better at auditory. I'm better at visual. I'm better at connect. I'm better at like actually doing it. Well, one, you're actually doing it by doing it, so don't worry about that part of learning. But this is your new teacher. If you want a distinct advantage, this thing's open 24/7, 7 days of the week. Start learning by talking and reading text. That's going to be your distinct advantage. So that just about does it. I'm going to leave a playlist here showing me creating my own software from scratch. It's called Concept to AI SaaS. There's a bunch of little golden nuggets you can find there, really understanding like why software makes so much money, the implications of just data passing, everything of that nature. I didn't mean to come off too intense. This might have been an intense video, y'all. But I feel like sometimes people need to hear it intense in order to understand like, yo, listen, trust me, do not go down that route. That route is not the route you want to take. So that being said, I'll see you in the next video. So that was the playlist I was referring to there, which goes over all the stuff I've learned up to this point. I've been creating the software that I'm currently at right now for around 7 months. We're going to add more value. I got paid users, got everything. So if you are really interested in creating AI software, make sure to stay tuned on this channel here. That's a random video. That's my face. I'll see you in the next video.